How was it for you guys out here with us?
Just fine. Well, the first one that rolled through, I was in Terrace.
I did see somebody.
There, and then the next one,
What do you mean the next one?
See, there wasn't after this.
there's been two that,
I only felt the
main
main one.
yeah, well, the one about, what, 9:30, 9:45, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yes.
And then, to my office, or something like that, another one rolled through.
You know what's interesting though, so two of our kids are at La Jolla High. One of my daughter didn't feel it at all, my son felt it. In our house, it was me, my husband, and my parent. I screamed right away. I'm like, beep, I called my husband. My husband thought it was me walking on the floor. I'm like, I'm not that heavy-footed. And my aunt didn't feel a thing. All in the same house. It's so strange.
My daughter, my was on spring break, my 12-year-old. From right upstairs like that. She's very French. So she was like, Mom, it's an earthquake. We're gonna die.
Just blame the mayor.
That's
There's something could happen, I suppose, huh?
Yeah, I'm the guy with the headache.
The earth is moving like
And I don't have, and I still don't have beachfront property here in Santee.
Oh, gosh. Well, that's a good thing.
yeah. Where's everyone?
All right.
It's so nice to meet you. Thank you.
You know what?
Oh, spring break is gonna close. All the teachers
Steve, they
are
may
off.
ask you to move in over here.
Sir?
Let me get my name tag.
How are you? Oh, good. Oh, very good.
Hey.
Stephen?
Nice to see you.
Or as we say in Italy, Stefan. No, I was in Italy years ago.
Oh, I thought you went on a trip somewhere recently.
No, I haven't dropped acid in years. All right, then. All right, let's call this meeting to order of the Community Oriented Policing Committee. And it is April 14th, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And let's see, we do not have a quorum. However, I am going to ask the clerk to call the roll for those who are here.
Mayor Minto,
I'm here.
City Manager Best,
Here.
Sheriff Department Captain Hernandez,
Here.
Institute for Public Strategies David Shorey,
Here.
Linda Roach,
Here.
Steve Stellman,
Here.
Danette McLagan.
Here.
We do currently have 6 voting members present. We do need 8 for a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Then we will delay or may even table, depending on whether or not we get a quorum, item number 2, which is going to be approval of the February 10th and March 10th meeting minutes. So what we're going to do then is go on to item number 3, which is updates on neighborhood watch and crime prevention.
Yes. I'm continuing to reach out to the various HOAs and property managers at the apartments, and I'm finally getting some positive feedback. So I anticipate we're going to get some neighborhood watch meetings in regular rotation again, which will be great. While I was there, I also provided resources for personal safety and vehicle safety, so they can push all those resources out to their residents. And I gave you guys all the new flyer for the Safe Streets program. They revamped it and did a rebranding. So we're really going to start pushing this out on social media. Anytime I'm tabling with resources, I'll provide it and have it to answer questions for anybody that'll be available.
Well, that's great. On the Safe Streets part of that, is there a connection between some issues that go on in our homelessness issues? I don't know, maybe the captain can even answer that. The only reason why I'm going somewhere with that question, so if you have
If you don't mind
any-
rephrasing it a little bit, I didn't quite understand it, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's part of the issue. When I think about safe streets and we talk about business and residents and whatever, kind of working together on identifying issues or safety issues, we'll say. Because we talk always so much about homelessness issues and some of the safety issues concerns they raise. Are we seeing a reduction in that? Are we still, how are we looking at that?
So to address the cameras first, we do like that the citizens get involved with sharing their cameras because it allows our detectives to follow up and solve crimes that have already been reported but maybe not solved yet. So we get a lot of input from the community. And we also have our own freestanding cameras that the sheriff's department owns throughout the city in public view that enables our investigators to solve crimes that are happening. Right now, they're only live view, but we're hoping that in the future we could petition the city to allow us to record.
Okay, so unless we actually get a complaint that has somebody that's homeless that might have been caught on camera, that's where the difference would be, right?
Yes, or for example, I think we've gotten a couple porch pirates that have been transient related. So, and we have been able to identify them that way through the camera system that the citizens provide to us.
Okay, I was thinking a little bit bigger picture, I guess, but maybe down the road.
Down the road, there's plans to hopefully place cameras, for example, in trailheads or in fire-prone areas where we get a lot of fires, and that would enable us to hopefully catch whoever's setting them from time to time.
All right, well, where I was going with that is that there was just another homeless count, and it showed another large reduction in homelessness in the city of Santee. So I thought that would, I don't know how that was going to connect, but it made me think of it, though. So, because especially at our businesses, and if they have cameras and things of that nature, it could make a difference. But we're just not there yet, I guess.
Yes, sir. But we're making great progress. I was very happy to see that report. So.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So the mayor was ahead of his time on thinking about that stuff, huh? You know what? Like you said, it's my last term. I can pat myself on the back now, right? I'm not have to worry about looking, Okay. Sounds good. Is that it then? All right, great. Thank you very
I
much.
have a question, Your Honor.
All right.
Sorry. So for the camera program, if someone has a, say, Ring camera, this process is basically you would go to them and get their footage, or you could automatically tie into that camera and download the footage.
I don't believe we can tie into it. I think we get a list of people that are willing to share it, and then we can petition it from you.
Okay.
Say there's a crime that occurred on your street. You're not the victim, but maybe your footage could help us solve that crime. So then we would reach out to you.
Right. And just to reemphasize what you said earlier, all the existing cameras that the Sheriff's Department has are live feed only at this point.
Correct. They're all live, and while helpful, it's not ideal because we don't have the personnel to be monitoring all the time.
Right. Thanks.
All right then. Thank you very much. Oh, do we have any speaker slips on that?
No, sir.
All right. Then we're going to go to our presentation is Stand With Us presentation on defining anti-Semitism and promoting non-discrimination of all residents. And I'd like to introduce Liat. I can't remember your last name off the top of my head. Okay, thank you.
And this is Stacey Wax. So thank you, committee members and Mayor Minto. It is an honor for us to be here today. I am Liat Cohen-Reese, the director of the Anti-Semitism Task Force at Stand With Us, a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that has been devoted to combating anti-Semitism and misinformation about Israel and the Jewish people.
Hi, I am Stacey Wax. I was born and raised here in San Diego, California. I'm a third-generation San Diegan. I went to high school about 15 minutes here, and thank you for having me.
Today, we seek to incorporate the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition of anti-Semitism as adopted in 2019 in the USA. This definition has the vast majority of support from the Jewish community as the consensus-driven definition of anti-Semitism. It has been adopted by over 95% of all major Jewish organizations. In addition, this definition has been endorsed and adopted by 1,100 entities worldwide, 43 countries, 37 U.S. states, almost 100 U.S. cities, and even the Global Imams Council, comprised of over 1,500 imams.
So what is IRA? IRA provides contemporary examples of anti-Semitism in public life, the media, schools, the workplace, and the religious sphere. Examples include, but are not limited to, calling for aiding or justifying the killing or harming of Jews in the name of radical ideology or an extremist view or religion, making dehumanizing, demonizing, or stereotypical allegations about Jews, such as the power of Jews as a collective, such as especially but not exclusively the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy, or Jews controlling the media, the economy, the government, or other social institutions. Accusing Jews as people of being responsible for real or imagined wrongdoings committed by a single Jewish person or group, or even acts committed by non-Jews. Denying the fact that scope mechanisms, for example, the gas chambers, or intentionally of the genocide of Jewish people at the hands of Nazi Germany and its supporters and accomplices during World War II, the Holocaust, accusing the Jews as a people or Israel as a state of inventing or exaggerating the Holocaust. These things happen, believe it or not. Accusing Jewish citizens of being more loyal to Israel or the alleged priorities of Jews worldwide than to the interest of their own nations. Denying the Jewish people of their right to self-determination, example by claiming that the existence of a state of Israel is a racist endeavor. Applying double standards by requiring of it a behavior not expected or demanded by any other democratic nation. Using symbols and images associated with classic anti-Semitism, claims of the Jews killing Jesus or blood libel, to characterize Israel or Israelis, drawing comparisons of contemporary Israeli policies to that of the Nazis, holding Jews collectively responsible for the actions of the State of Israel.
So IRA codifies a definition of anti-Semitism to help government officials better identify anti-Semitic motives, criminal activity, and unlawful discrimination. It also provides the government with a definition to train future government employees to recognize anti-Semitic discrimination better. Why do we need this definition now? There is an anti-Semitism crisis surging throughout America. Jews comprise approximately 2.4% of the American population, and they manage to suffer more than 60% of religiously motivated hate crimes. ADL San Diego, the Anti-Defamation League, recorded 108 incidents of anti-Semitic assault, vandalism, and harassment in 2023, soaring to 200% above this previous record of 36 set the year prior. Again, this is in San Diego. This reflects a global trend as Jewish communities worldwide face heightened tensions and hatred in response to the October 7th massacre and ongoing conflict on campuses, in the public square, and at demonstrations. I'd like to share ADL San Diego findings with you. ADL San Diego responded to 2 assaults, including one against a rabbi in a grocery store. This is in line with findings across the country where visibly religious Jews have been more targeted by assaults over the past 2 years. White supremacist groups within the region distributed thousands of anti-Semitic flyers on 20 different occasions over the last 12 months across San Diego, La Jolla, La Mesa, Santee, and Valley Center. There were 18 incidents of vandalism, including swastikas in feces at UCSD, large swastikas on private property, in public areas, and in schools. Bomb threats against Jewish institutions experienced a dramatic 700% increase, targeting synagogues throughout San Diego. Post-October 7th, San Diego recorded 58 incidents of anti-Semitism, accounting for 54% of the annual total. The San Diego region experienced 45 anti-Semitic Israel-related incidents that called for the destruction of the Jewish state through slogans like "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," "Global Intifada," and "Death to Israel." Mostly these occur in public areas, at protests, and on campuses. The rhetoric used at these rallies included the promotion of classic anti-Semitic tropes, signage equating Judaism or Zionism with Nazism, unapologetic support for terrorism, glorification of terrorist groups, and extreme anti-Zionism. Incidents at college campuses and K-12 schools both increased by 300% in 2023. There were 12 incidents on college campuses in 2023 compared to just 3 in 2022. And K-12 schools saw an increase from 5 incidents in 2022 to 20 in 2023. We have a big problem, and we need IRA in every municipality to ensure that a universal working definition of anti-Semitism is adopted throughout San Diego to help protect the Jewish community.
I'm going to go off script here for a second. I'm going to come to you as a mother and as a local parent. These are just the incidents that were reported. These aren't the ones where kids were too afraid to come home and tell their parents of what's going on at school, or how they were called a dirty Jew, or given a dirty look because they were wearing some kind of a Jewish thing, like a Jewish star or a yellow hostage pin. Last night, I personally went to an event with my 12-year-old daughter for a community event for something she was getting an award for, an accomplishment. And she goes, "Mom, why are you wearing that pin? You're going to stand out, and it's going to be embarrassing, and people aren't going to like me." This is what we're living with on a daily basis. I have kids on college campuses that are threatened. My son in high school here in San Diego had a swastika drawn on his car. Something was on our property. This is a real problem, and it's right here in our own backyard. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that. It's not just the documented cases, because there's so many that are not even, reported. So now I want to talk about Zionism, because our opposition delusionally implies that anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. You might want to know, what is Zionism? Zionism is a Jewish nationalist movement advocating for the establishment and support of a Jewish state in the historic land of Israel. It's based on the belief that Jews as a nation have the right to self-determination in their ancestral homeland. 95% of American Jews consider Israel an essential part of their Jewish identity. Attacking Jews for being Zionist is absolutely 1,000% anti-Semitic, and IRA addresses this. These days, the word Zionist is used as a slur to attack and shame Jews. It is meant to make American Jews, like me, embarrassed and offended. Anti-Zionist libel hides behind the free speech to criticize Israel, but it's really about the dehumanization through demonizing American Jews. It's pure racism. Let's call it what it is. Please be aware that the word Zionist from Zionist haters is just a stand-in word for Jews. They know they can't blatantly say we hate Jews, so they try to get away from saying, they say we hate Zionists, and they think that's okay.
So now let's address our main opposition and who it comes from. You should have all received detailed information in advance on Jewish Voices for Peace, which fights us every step of the way. We're surprised they're not here today. But maybe Santee is quite the special city. You have hopefully read about the laws that they have broken, the fraud that they have committed, and the terrorist organizations that they are tied to. If you have not yet read it, I really urge you to read through. You hopefully realize that the last thing that they stand for is peace. When they call for a global intifada on the streets of the United States, what do you think comes next? What follows a call for intifada is violence, death, and ultimately overturning America. Most importantly, you must know that they do not in any way represent the voice of the majority of American Jews. Again, JVP does not represent the Jewish people, nor do they represent anything peaceful. They are made of anti-Semites who try to discredit the broader Jewish community by claiming that they are Jewish. JVP recently voiced their goals at a Senate Judiciary meeting under the guise of combating anti-Semitism and protecting free speech. However, no matter how many times they repeat this lie, it is important to note that IRA does not limit free speech whatsoever. In fact, IRA clearly states that criticism of Israel similar to that leveled against any other country cannot be regarded as anti-Semitic. JVP wants people to be able to say, I don't hate Jews, I just hate Jews that have ties to Israel, and to block the IRA definition that equates anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. While JVP wrongly claims that IRA threatens their freedom of speech, what they're asking for is the freedom to continue to spew their hatred, anti-Semitism, and evil. Here are just two of their most recent insidious posts. The first one is for a meeting to tackle the harmful programs of the ADL. The Anti-Defamation League has been recognized as one of the most reputable Jewish organizations in the world since 1918 and has tackled hatred in all communities, Blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, etc. Now JVP wants to bring them down too. And here is just a little copy off of their website for their agenda saying, join Jewish Voice for Peace San Diego chapter as we collectively raise our consciousness around the harmful programs of the Anti-Defamation League in San Diego and elsewhere. For the life of me, I cannot imagine one person in this world that can even have one example of a harmful program of ADL besides being a Jewish organization. The second example is of an anti-Zionist Passover Seder they just had. Note that wearing masks is required. I often wonder why their members always cover their faces. If they are so peaceful, why are they always hiding? This is off social media. Join us at JVP's anti-Zionist Passover Seder. Masks required and will be available at the door.
I also want to say if this was any other marginalized community, nobody would be thinking twice about this. But because it's the Jews, it's okay. And we sometimes get overlooked because people say, oh, you're a religion, you're not, marginalized, you're not, what's the word I want to use?
race.
A race, thank you. So I just really want to thank you, the great city of Santee, for listening to us today. We're extremely grateful for your time and your attention, and we urge you to recommend that IRA will be put on the bill of agenda for the upcoming Santee City Council meetings. Will it be voted on, and hopefully it will be adopted? We hope that the city of Santee will stand against anti-Semitism, provide clarity for education and Jewish policy around anti-Semitism, join a broader movement, support the Jewish community, and take a proactive response to hate, because hate of any kind is just not okay.
We have thus presented to two councils, and both unanimously voted to adopt the IRA definition: the Human Relations Commission for the City of San Diego and the City of El Cajon. We truly hope that the City of Santee will help us lead the way to make San Diego a safer place for its Jewish citizens. Thank you.
I'm taking it we don't have any speaker slips? Okay. Questions from the committee? Comments? Steve?
So what the call to action of adopting the definition, can you describe more of what that means for a municipality to do?
Sure. So Stand With Us has a whole team, a legal team that can draft the ordinance that would be voted on. And then once hopefully that does get voted on and brought to Santee, then, you know, your incredible police department can have better guidelines so that when something does arise, it's not ambiguous. Now you have this definition and you can turn to it and understand, yes, this was an anti-Semitic act or not.
And also for education.
Also for education. I mean, across all boards, really, this affects hospitals, the police department, you know, school boards, universities. These issues arise in all of those aspects.
If we can't define what it is, then how are we supposed to impose it? That's why we're trying to clearly define what anti-Semitism is, so that everybody knows and everybody can, it's just a clear line that you don't cross.
Well, my understanding is, though, that there are some clear lines. Let's say if you're African American or something else. Obviously, there have been clear lines forever. But people will say, well, it's not a clear line with anti-Semitism because no one's really ever defined it. Oh, well, they're really white people. They're not really a different race. And so in just what I've been researching since we all started talking and the conversation we had, what this does is it actually defines so that when somebody says, oh, so-and-so called me such and said, oh, I'm going to beat you up because. Well, you know what? Then it's an obviously going over the line when you do that because you have to, you know, there have to be certain ABC to get to the, you know, criminal aspect of it. Now, the difference is, though, that in Santee, we define this. We have a contract with the Sheriff's Department, and I'm not sure exactly how it would come together, but the important part is even if the county has a different you know, flavor of the day, so to speak, lack of better terms. In our city, our sheriff can say that, well, you know, Santee has an ordinance that defines this. And so if, at least, I don't know, the captain, tell me if I'm wrong, at least in that city, this is what the definition is, although it doesn't change state statutes or anything like that. But it leads us to bringing other agencies under the same umbrella, so to speak. I mean, I don't know how you would dress it differently or.
I think you said it right, Mayor. It's great to have additional knowledge on any topic, right? So we welcome knowing more about it and understanding more what we could charge and what avenues to take. And we can communicate with the DA's office if we are in doubt. But at the end of the day, we do use state statutes to make the charges.
Great. So, did you have some, David? Linda?
That kind of begs the question, what is the status of the adoption of this definition at the state? And I'd be curious at the national level, what efforts are being made at those two levels?
So the USA adopted it in 2019. There are over 35, I think it's like 38 states that have adopted it throughout the US since, not California yet.
No, so some work to do.
And I understand there is discussion at the state level currently.
There's
Is that
discussion.
correct?
I think after October 7th, everyone's starting to realize exactly how important this is, and it's moving along much more quickly.
All right. Well, if there's not any more question, what we're going to do is we'll get together with our attorney and discuss it, and we'll be in touch again because obviously you guys have all the language. And I wouldn't expect this to come to our next meeting because it's not going to be a full board, and I'd rather bring this to a full board than instead of partial. And so maybe in May.
Okay.
But we do appreciate you coming here today. You know, when we talked and you mentioned about, well, you know, we get protesters and people that are whatever, and I said, it's not going to happen in Santee. At least I was right about that. So,
Thank you. We're happy
great.
for that.
Thank you
Yes.
very much, ladies.
We want to thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
And by the way, guys, item number 5 is our core values update. I mostly wanted this presentation to be considered part of that core value update. So I don't know if we have anything else other than that, committee members or anybody else?
I just have a question.
Sure.
I'm just, again, wondering if there's been discussion about including the core values in documents that are sent out by the city, if there's like a slide on SanteeTV that has them described. I know we've talked about that a couple of times, but it just
We'll have
seems
to
really
just follow
simple
up.
things.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, we do have some of that already in process, so that's a positive for this group. And as you know, we do have our community core values placed at the front entry of all of our city offices. And we do have other documents, including some of our council materials that have community core values. Our city budgets include the community core values and what is done annually to help support those. So we are moving in that direction.
All right.
Thank you.
Anybody else on that? Okay.
Actually, I would like if we could include it on May's agenda. I'd like an update on the level of activity and feedback about the community, the coming together event that we had. I do know that there was one event there that I would love to see what the input was. Citizens or participants were asked to indicate ways that they are manifesting and exhibiting the community core values. And I know they were being written on poster board or something like that, and I'm sure that those are recorded somewhere. I would love to see a summary of those, as well as kind of a recap of the attendance, the number of vendors that were there, you know, just any feedback that was received. And I'd love to see that, you know, at the May meeting, if that would be possible.
James, yeah, make a note of that, please. And then do a follow-up with me on that.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay. You know, I just want to point out one thing. We kind of mentioned it back and forth a little bit, but there was some, when I first started talking with Liat about bringing this, her concern is that they always have a number of protesters. They always have people come and speak in opposition. And I did tell her, I said, we do things very differently here. We do have some reputations that are at one time deserved, other times not deserved. And today we have a community core's value that is very different. We have people that worked on this that were, you know, just hell bent on, you know, making sure that we did the right things. And I say that, you know, tongue in cheek, but the folks that are here, I mean, there's at least 3 of you, and you worked very hard and you found out that it just doesn't happen overnight. But the fact that it was done and more people are communicating about it, I said, I don't think we're going to have to worry about people coming here to protest and speak in opposition. And, you know, and obviously today it did work out that way. So I think the message is getting out there in a way that maybe never has before. And, you know, just one more thing to be proud of, living in this community.
I think it's an example of, you know, we're on a journey. It's not a single destination. It's going to be an ongoing an ongoing adventure, an ongoing journey, very important one.
Yeah, you know, the train has to stop to refuel every once in a while. You know what don't know what you're gonna encounter when you stop.
And I do want to express my appreciation because I know staff played a huge role in making that come together. And from my ears on the ground, it appeared that it was quite successful. So compliments to all of you that had a hand in organizing and putting it together and promoting it.
Great, thanks. All right, then, we're going to go on to just general communication from committee and staff. Let me start down here. Anything?
Yes, I finally have something for you.
Oh, no way.
I know. I wanted to let you know that the East County Homeless Task Force will be meeting this coming Wednesday, the 16th, at the East Region Health and Human Services Agency office on Magnolia Street in El Cajon. And we'll be looking at how to be an effective advocate in interesting times and not mess up your 501c3 status. So everybody is welcome to come, 1 o'clock until 2:30. Again, at the East Region, the Health and Human Services office on Magnolia in El Cajon.
When was the date and time of that again?
April 16th, 1 to 2:30.
Oh, okay, great.
This coming Wednesday,
Yeah.
day after tomorrow. Pack a lunch. Well, you don't have to pack a lunch for that, but it won't be that long, but come on.
Great, thanks. Steve?
Just in light of what happened this morning, a thought came to my mind of, does Santee have a CERT program?
Yes.
Maybe we could have a presentation about CERT here, which, for those of you who don't know, Community Emergency Response Team.
Yep.
Just kind of came to my mind.
All right, then. Anything, Marlene?
Nothing, sir.
All right, Linda? Anything else? Annette?
I was saying, I was driving in my car during the earthquake. I had no idea how bad it was till I got to Starbucks, and then everybody in Starbucks was having a meltdown. But I'm like, what happened?
I still have a headache from when I hit my head in duck and cover. There just wasn't enough room under that desk when I was in grade school.
I miss all the fun. I'm like, I get out of my car at Starbucks, and they're like, wow, that was where I'm like, what happened?
Well, the good
The
part
guy
is,
from Louisiana was by far the most upset,
I'll bet.
having never been through that before. And
Well, we still don't have beachfront property here in Santee, so it wasn't that bad.
okay, good to know.
Captain?
Yes, sir. I have the monthly traffic report as requested.
Okay, thank you.
So, James, thank you. Okay, so if you can see the screen, it's the traffic overview for citations and collisions for March of 2025. Collisions, we had a total per CAD. CAD is what the dispatchers use to access calls for service. It stands for Computer-Aided Dispatch. There was 59 collisions. The top collision locations were at Cuyamaca and Mission Gorge. And as far as citations, the total per CAD were 194 citations, and that excludes parking citations, and it also excludes warnings. A lot of our stops not always result in a citation, but sometimes when people are cooperative and they admit that they messed up and stuff like that, the deputy has the discretion to warn them. The top citation locations was at 31 TCP. There were 6 of them near Costco, and you can see the rest of them down the line. And lastly, there was also 3 DUI arrests last month.
Was that from a DUI stop? Or, checkpoint?
No, sir, we didn't have a checkpoint. They were just from calls for service or from traffic stops.
And they were coming from Costco? Just kidding.
Maybe. And that's all I have, sir.
Okay. You know what? It was interesting. We had somebody come out at our last council meeting, you might recall, and complained about several intersections that were just not functioning very well in their opinion. And do you think that could be some of the reasons for some of the higher, like for instance, at Mission Gorge and Cuyamaca, or you just, people just don't care? They're going to make that light no matter what?
I think a little of both, and I know the city engineers are always looking to better improve the flow of traffic, but there's just drivers out there that no matter what, they're kind of, I guess, they don't care what the other drivers are doing, they're just going to run the red light because they got to be somewhere.
Got to be somewhere.
Yep.
Well, that intersection does see a lot of volume, so it's not surprising.
Yep. All right, then. James, do you have anything for us?
No, sir.
All right, then. And we have no public left. We scared all of them away.